Yes, we are live, everybody. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Coaching with Dr. Alicia. We are finally here. Of course, I am Dr. Alicia Watkins. I'm a therapist. I'm a social work professor and trauma-informed practitioner, and that's the part that we're going to focus on tonight. The title of our discussion today is Who Protects the Children When the System's Meant to Help, they actually fail. That is what we're talking about. I really do think that this is a very important conversation about childhood maltreatment. These are the most vulnerable populations in our communities, and sometimes they are the most mistreated populations. And a lot of it is silenced, and the responsibilities of families and institutions that we trust with children's safety sometimes gets violated. And by the way, before we begin, I want to offer care. We're going to be discussing childhood trauma, different forms of abuse and neglect, and I just want to make sure that everybody feels safe because this is a topic that affects so many people, which we're going to learn today. So I want you guys to take care of yourself while listening. If you need to step away and breathe, we got 3 people here that you can put your questions in the chat and talk to any of us if you need to discuss something, because this conversation is very important. So when you feel ready, go ahead and put your comments in the chat. I see some people here joining us, so make sure if you're here, let me look at the comments. If you're here joining us, there's a few people, a few of y'all getting in. Hey, good evening, Terrell. How you doing? How about everybody joining us? Drop in the chat where you're tuning in from, and I will be sure. I'll be sure to shout you out. Please do that. But tonight, what we're doing is I am bringing in Letitia Gottashe. She's going to come in a few seconds and introduce herself, but oh my goodness, she has this wonderful book bringing up this great conversation. She has a book. It's reads like a memoir, and anybody who knows me knows I absolutely love memoirs. And she is doing a 3-city pre-launch book tour, and there's an upcoming event right here in the Chicago. And then we also have Tori Marshall. She's going to introduce herself in a second. And what we're doing is we are using all of our platforms to move this issue from private pain to what is our personal responsibility for the public. And if anybody is interested in joining us in Chicago at the Barack Obama Presidential Center on next Wednesday, the 12th at 6 p.m. Please, Central Time, please be sure to join us. I have the link. I just posted the link. It's in the chat. Click on that link and get your tickets and come meet me. I want to see you guys. Come meet with me. We're not gathering only to examine what went wrong. We're also asking families and professionals and organizations about what we can do differently. This is solutions. So just want to let you guys know about that. Okay. Let's go ahead and introduce everybody. Letitia Gottashe, please introduce yourself. Tell everybody about your work as an author, educator, advocate. Please introduce yourself to everybody.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having this space for us this evening, Dr. Alicia. My name is Letitia Gottashe. I'm from New York, born in Harlem, raised in the Boogie Down Bronx, and then before leaving high school, we moved up to Mount Vernon, New York, where I am currently now. I started writing this book actually in the late 80s, when I was disgusted with America, and I decided I was going to move out the country. But before I moved, I started this book, and it's like Saturday, the whole world decided they wanted to contact me. So after about 23 pages, I packed it away for a retirement project. Unfortunately, I had to retire early because I was in a car accident. And after surviving that and getting myself into a state of wellness, I decided to pick up my manuscript where I left off and complete it.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your story. And thank you for inviting me to come with you to talk about this very important project that you're on. Okay. And then this very important project seems like it's been in the works since the 80s. The 80s. Oh my gosh. So I really appreciate it. We'll talk a little bit more about your book and what all it entails, but I really, really do appreciate that. So we'll next have our next guest introduce herself. Her name is Tori, and go ahead, and Tori Marshall, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell everybody about your work as founder and mental health strategist for Mosaic Wellness Company. Go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone.
Yes, well, greetings to everyone. I bring you greetings from the South Side, Best Side of Chicago, born and raised. So excited to be here. And once again, my name is Tori Marshall, and I am CEO and founder and the evidence-based model, literally, of Mosaic Mindset Wellness. And so just grateful to have provided service for over 24 years. I'm working with adolescent youth in the heart of the city. It started off in Inglewood, going into Chicago public schools, high schools, as well as grammar schools, as well as in the south suburbs, and then really actually taking a deeper approach into not just the mental health, but the social emotional wellness of a child. Because yes, you can earn an A, as I always say, in all these other areas, but what about the social emotional wellness? And I really saw that from my mom. My mom was an educator in Chicago public school with kindergartners and first graders for over 37 years. And so from that, I saw her literally just trailblaze new paths for not just teaching academics, but really assessing and paying attention to just the emotional well-being of children. And so it has been a joy and an honor to be able to provide service to thousands, over 7,000 young ladies, as well as now getting the attention of the pre-K through fifth grade, as well as the upperclassmen, and partnering with Chicago Public Schools and providing curriculums that I have written catered specifically to the social emotional wellness of Black girls, and not just the girls, but the parents, the community. People say it takes a village to raise a child. I beg to differ, and nowadays it takes a nation and a half. So I'm just honored to be a part of the nation and excited to be with Letitia on this book tour here in Chicago, my city. You better come and join us. Be in the room. It makes a difference when we're in the room, and just even providing services to Chicago Public Schools, Johnny Coleman Academy, principals, counselors. It has just been a wealth of an opportunity to partner with other people, and even with community-based participatory research with Northwestern University, understanding the importance of getting the community evaluation involved, really not just assessing, but we're all looking for everyone to have a call to action. So August 12th is not just a gathering. I really look at it as a movement, and just congratulating Letitia for launching it here in Chicago. And I know it's going to go abroad, and excited to also be a moderator when she's in Connecticut. So just excited to be here and have these impactful discussions, but really impacting all of us to have a call to action. So I've been calling it the prelude. So this is just a taste. August 12th, we know it's going to be an experience. So glad to be here. And thank you, Dr. Alicia, for opening up your platform to let the voice be heard, and for us to allow our voices to really amplify this movement.
Oh, that is so wonderful. Thank you so much. You too for sharing. And I'm going to tell you, man, it is so brave. Like I was been talking to Letitia about her book and what it's about and what has inspired you to write this very courageous book. No One Heard My Silence.
Yeah.
And what is the personal story that you like to share around this book? Like, why do you feel called to tell this story right now in this moment? You know?
Well,
Yes.
if you turn on the news every other day, it's something happening with our children, whether it's a
Yes.
brown child, whether it's a Black child, whether it's a white child, it doesn't matter. How are we as a society really protecting the most vulnerable among us? Between our seniors and our children, those are our most vulnerable vulnerable populations, and both of them do get abused.
They really do. And I gotta tell you, when I was listening to you talk, Tori, about Chicago public schools, I was a therapist in the Chicago public school on the south side of Chicago.
Yes.
I was at a couple house. I'll tell you what high schools they were when we meet privately. But, and I remember this was back in, let's see, I graduated with my master's degree in the year 2000. So it was my very first job. And it was right when R. Kelly was around. Mm-hmm. And I remember some of everybody knew.
Yes.
Watch out for R. Kelly, who just drives around in his car and he's scoping out the girls at the school that I was working at. And I remember talking to kids about it. And at the time he had a hit song. He's had
yes, he did.
He's beautifully talented, beautifully flawed, but he had this great song and people were really turning they were turning, they're not really, wanting to really address this issue. And he felt emboldened to go around and to prey on young girls. And, this was something that as a social worker in the school, I really felt like I needed to do. Tori, tell me your perspective on this, because it sounds like you were did some work in Chicago public schools. And, the story that Letitia is talking about that makes her want to come out and share, tell me about it from a mental health perspective.
Thank you for the opportunity, and you're so correct. And so we were fully inundated. And so, yes, we provided after school workshops, but we knew that wasn't enough. Why? Because we were hoping that this 2-hour workshop was still going to be able to have an impact, because we knew that they were going back to dysfunctional homes. And we knew just for even getting them from their home, even to the school almost, was literally a miracle. And so what we found out was it's not just the workshops, but actually our one-on-one personal development sessions. And it was in those personal development sessions. And at the end of the day, just like you said, Letitia, as well as you, Dr. Alicia, we had to build trust and rapport. To them, we were total strangers. And so at the beginning, we had them fill out an assessment. And we told them, if you're not open and honest with us, then we can't help you. And that really broke the ice, because I know Planet Fitness has no judgment zone. We were the no judgment zone, and literally. And that's when they began to pour out just from sexual abuse, emotional abuse. And then we had to really creatively and innovatively have workshops that really hit the mark on that, releasing baggage, family baggage. And so the things that we're talking about, sometimes we need to understand that sometimes this is generational. And if we don't have those candid conversations in a safe space, because we share with them, we've had the valedictorian from the school, as well as 394 out of 395 in the same workshop. But everybody was on the same plane, and we had to have that listening ear. And so we had to get into their world. So even for my staff, I took them on a community tour. It's not just about going to this high school. You need to see these neighborhoods, what they're interacting with, because for some of them, they thought it was the norm. And so, Dr. Alicia, did we have to go against the grain of even some parents, of even some, of their family members to say, that we were doing too much, we were over the top, but we had to detox them. And so to understand that this is not the norm, this is a safe space. And guess what? We're advocates to do something about it. So this book, No One Heard Me, that's what we want to let them know, that your voice is heard. And when you have your voice heard, then we are going to collectively come together to do something about it, not just for that workshop, but we want it to impact your home, the school, and the community at large, so that even the community leaders need to understand you need to be a part of the solution. And so that was what we definitely saw, and we made no apologies for it. We didn't.
Oh, that is so wonderful. And I see there's a comment in here. Football stinks. Football stinks is putting up. What he put in his comment was, what? Wait, let me pull it up here. Why are you doing this? MFs. Look at this. Okay, let's address football stinks. Football stinks. Did you know? Tell me. Did you know that the latest federal report, I'm reading from this promotion, report identifies in 2024, there was 532,000 children as victims of abuse and neglect in 2024. That is 7.2 children out of every 1,000 in the United States. Did you know that children who maltreatment was substantiated or indicated, that approximately 63% experience neglect only, mostly is neglect, but 6.9% it was sexual abuse, 10% physical abuse. And all of these issues, it really is such an issue. These percentages really don't tell the full story.
Right.
And some children experience more maltreatment than others. So, these are really important things to talk about. And it's something that is so very important, not to mention African-American children and what they specifically go to. They're overrepresented with this issue. And so, Letitia or Tori, do you want to comment on the numbers and the overwhelming percentage of our children that look like us on the receiving end of abuse?
I think I was looking up that statistic yesterday, and it was like 60% of the cases are from our community.
Yes.
So it's 27%, and then out of that 27%, it's like 60% of that 27% is represented by people of color.
Yes.
Oh, that's overrepresented. Absolutely overrepresented. And that is really, really sad there to really even think about what all is happening. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Okay. So everybody who is joining us, I just want to welcome everyone here. If anybody I see you all kind of coming in here. I'm going to put in a link if you want to have like meaningful conversation where we're talking about solutions. Be sure to get your ticket. There's the link to get your ticket, and make sure that you come and visit all of us so we can keep this conversation going. I want to talk about, we really talked about a lot of issues here with this population, but I really would like to get from you guys exactly where do our systems fail? Like, how do they fail children? Maybe we'll start with you, Letitia. Where did the systems fail you?
Well, I grew up in the 60s and the 70s. So the system, it didn't fail. It just ignored us. It wasn't made for us. So it ignored us. When I say that, when you talked about even children going to a guidance counselor for help, counseling to figure out what they were going to do with high school, we were pigeonholed into certain careers. Oh, you can't be a nurse. Oh, you can't be a doctor. No, why don't you be a secretary over here? Why don't you be a teacher over here? Something something that was not our dream. So we were turned around and pushed around. I actually have a piece that I wrote when I was 14 years old. And before I got help, I got a 92. Before I got help, it was a cry for help. Because I was crying for help at home. At 4 years old, I asked my mother for a jump rope. And at that time, it was a jump rope that had white handles on it and it was plastic. And my mother didn't understand why. You can use the clothesline. I'm like, no, because I need a weapon because my sister that's 12 years old and I'm 5, she's beating me up and I need something to hit her with. Now, my mother knew that there was this course going on, but didn't do anything about it. So then my question would be like, was she afraid of my sister? Because my sister towered over the whole family. At 12 years old, she was 5'6", and my mother was 4'11". My father was 5'2". Yeah. So I'm down here like to the grasshopper stage. She's all the way up here, and we shared a room.
Oh my gosh! Thank you for sharing.
You don't think about sibling abuse.
Yeah, sibling abuse really is a thing. And it's almost like I do find it in my practice a lot, and it affects them deeply. And it's not just like Why wasn't there an adult, a trusted adult, somebody there that could stand in the way and say, wait, we need to protect siblings from abusing each other? And a lot of it has to do with, what are the adults, what type of behavior are the adults in the home modeling for the children? It's like, how do you expect a child to be sound and to be ready to go to school and to learn if at home they're getting yelled at and neglected and ignored, or there's not a trusted adult there that can connect with them on a meaningful level? Just that alone can create and build up resilience for a lot of children. And it's so fascinating because on Sunday nights I do a book club. And in my book club, we're talking about childhood wounds and how they show up in your current relationships and what you can do about it. If anybody wants to go to draliciabookclub.com and you can join us. It's totally free for anybody that wants to come and do the work and fixing themselves, because so many people grow up in that and they feel such shame about what's happened to them, the shame behind it. And the fact that, they experience shame and then they grow up and they have children and then they put that shame, carry it through to their children. But if you come to my book club, we're stopping it here at this generation. I know, I see you nodding your head, Tori. You want to weigh in on that shame piece?
Absolutely. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. That shame can be an entire wardrobe. That could be a whole runway show. And so, like you said, one of the things that definitely I know is very important, and I always call it the RC factor. People always say, people by their fruit. I know people by their root.
Yes.
You don't assess the root cause of trauma, of shame. It can almost be worn as a lifestyle. And they think it's okay with it because they haven't come into an environment where you have somebody to not just assess and uproot the negative, but now we're going to plant seeds in about the positive. And guess what? It's about the journey. That's why I know for me, what I do is I am journeying with girls and parents, for weeks, for months, because if you do like a 24, 48-hour intervention, you're just scratching the surface. And so just even for shame, some people wear that well, unfortunately. And if we allow it, they won't apply for jobs. Like you said, one of the things that I know, my best friend, it just eats her up alive, is that the very first thing they want to do in schools, if it comes to funding, they remove the arts. But like you said, Letitia, your writing was sharing your story. Your writing was your outlet to say, I will need my voice to be heard. The dancing, the piano, all of those things. I know for me, from Girl Scouts to dancing to, my parents had me in everything. I still owe them probably millions of dollars just for all of the things that they put me in, from swimming to playing the flute. But all of that was building up my confidence and building up where I wouldn't have to wear shame. So if somebody would say that to me, I know I'm going to counteract that because that doesn't define me. But when you have your uncles and your aunts and then your teachers are saying it, if you don't really have a safe space to really assess it, and your way of really being able to verbalize that, whether it's writing, whether it's spoken word. I had the opportunity to serve as a judge for the AXO Awards here in Chicago with the NAACP. I recognized that, through their writing, it was a tough decision. And they got acknowledged for their work, but that was their platform to say, this is my voice and I want it to be heard. And it was a judgment-free zone. And so when you have that, then you erase and you detoxify wearing shame as a wardrobe, and you don't even go and pick it up. And when it's offered to you, you don't say yes. I don't care if it's discounted. I don't care if it's for free. I'm still not going to wear that because, unfortunately, people wear well from childhood all the way till 80 years of age. So sometimes you might be in conversation with a 60 or 70-year-old, but it's the 6 and 7-year-old that still has that shame, that now they're just masking it up in a 62-year-old or a 74-year-old body.
Yeah, and it becomes your personality.
Yes.
And it's just like, okay, who would you be if you weren't carrying this shame around?
Exactly.
Who would you be? You would be able to say no when you want to say no. You will be able to have appropriate boundaries. You will be able to, as a woman on the south side of Chicago, be able to tell a man, I'm not interested in that.
Right. Yeah.
We must use protection.
Right. Absolutely. And you know what?
Speak
Not
up for
even just
yourself.
verbally. I just
Yes.
remember my mama said something so key. She said your posture will speak for itself. So if
Yes.
my posture is saying no, you know what, they didn't even approach you. My posture is saying that there is a standard that I have and that is going to be maintained. So even if if you don't get it, my nonverbal is going to help you, understand that I'm not wearing that shame. But if you're downtrodden, some of the
Mhm.
students, are
Oh,
walking with their heads down. You're sharing information about them. We had, information about like beauty. And my
yes.
husband always talks about identity. He's a Chicago public school educator. And he said, if students knew and understood their identity and who they are, he said that part, if we could, he said he infuses that in his teaching. And if we could really get that even at a younger age, I know that this community and this platform, Letitia, that you created, we hope that you do a volume 2, that
Yes.
my voice was heard. And
Oh,
silence has
Oh,
been
there's a volume
set
2
back.
and there's a volume 3.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to hearing about that, because we're here to talk about solutions as well. So that was
yeah.
just one of the things. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, we do need to
Powerful.
talk. There's some people who are coming in. I just want to let everybody know, welcome, welcome. I haven't been on here on YouTube in a while, but the name of what we're talking about is who protects the children when the system's meant to help they actually fail. We're talking about that today. I have 2 people here, wonderful individuals here. I have Tori Marshall here with us, and she does a lot of work in the schools, and she's eloquently talked about all of the work that she's doing to help people just have a voice and have a safe space to kind of talk about what's happening with them. And speaking of being courageous about talking about your story, I got to talk about Letitia Gottashe. Letitia Gottashe. Yes, that's her name, y'all. She's on her way up.
Yes, she is.
Nothing can stop her. She's on
Yes,
her way
she
up.
is.
Yeah, that's my
She
jam.
Thank you,
is.
thank you. I'm on what they say, started from the bottom, now we're here.
Now we're here. Come
Right.
on.
From the
That's
Well,
bottom,
what's
now we're
Letitia,
up.
you
here.
didn't just start at the bottom. You started underground because you had rooted
Oh yeah,
first.
oh
Now
yeah,
you all
that's
the way
true.
here. Yes.
That's true, that's true.
Oh my God! Well,
Absolutely.
you spoken like a true New Yorker. Wait, from the
Yeah.
Bronx? Are you
From
from the
the
Bronx?
I was born in Harlem and raised in the Boogie Down.
Boogie Down
What?
Bronx, right?
Boogie down. That's what
Yes.
is up.
Fort,
And
what
so
they call it? They called it Fort Apache.
there we
Uh-huh.
go.
You know
Represent.
anything about Fort Apache in the 70s? That's when you heard the Bronx was burning?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
I
Wow.
could look out my window and see Fort Apache.
Wow.
Wow. That's legendary. Oh
That is.
my
That is.
And one of the first stories happens at Fort Apache.
Wow.
that is so interesting. And you know what? Actually, like Tori, when you were talking, I was just remember because I don't know if people know I'm from Gary, Indiana, and
Okay.
I went to a performing arts high school.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
that school saved so many of us.
I know
Like
it
for
did.
real. Like people were art majors and dance majors, and I was in the band. Girl, I played the flute too. I had an art band, and it was just like being on the stage. And I just to let you know, like the high school was in the poorest community in the whole state of Indiana, but we had so much love.
Yes.
They gave us so much, like everybody that went to that school, we just left that school feeling so good about ourselves. And I got to tell you, it's got to be because of the performance. Because if you were lacking confidence like I was when I started there, and as a freshman, and in high school, by the time I graduated, I felt like I could do anything because of the confidence.
Absolutely.
I had to perform, I had to practice. I wasn't gonna let nobody I wasn't going to get down there, because if you can't play and you're not good, they will let you know. But they do it with love, So that's what I think was so resilient,
Yes.
that put that resilience in us. And for you, Letitia Gottashe, tell us, do you talk about in your book what was there to help you to become resilient so that you can overcome it? What was your story for that?
Yes.
Exactly what you said. The arts.
The arts.
Started with dance, then I went to piano, Then I started fashion. Started sewing my wardrobe for school when I was 11.
Wow.
Oh,
So I call myself my parents' most inexpensive child because they bought no clothes for me at all. All they had to buy was bras, panties, socks, and shoes. Because by the time I was 13, I was making hats, bags, and coats, fully lined coats. So yeah, the arts is what saved me. And it's such a shame that that's the first thing that they want to knock off, which they
Yes.
don't understand between the arts and sports. That's
Yes.
discipline right there.
It is. It's life skills.
but
I
It
you
had to
know
is.
learn
what?
that.
That's two areas that
Yeah.
Black people excel in.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Hello.
Excel in.
That is so true.
Mhm.
They sit there watching to see what we do so that they can mimic it.
Yes.
I went to a jazz event. It wasn't not one Black person playing jazz music.
Wow.
Jazz music has been co-opted. It's been stolen, but they do a good job of jazz. They really do a good job. And I've noticed like a lot of R&B singers, you don't really see too many Black R&B singers. All the new like pop artists, they sound like they're Black, but they're not. So it's so fascinating in sports, and sports are becoming whitewashed, by like creating barriers for people to get through, especially people from poorer communities to
Mhm.
get in there. You have to really like, it's much more difficult now than it was back in the day.
Right.
And so that is so fascinating. That has been the two things that we have been able to do, because jazz music started in Louisiana. It's
Yes.
unique to African Americans here.
Yes, it
Mhm.
is.
And so is hip hop. Come on.
Yes.
So
You
is the
know this,
blues.
Letitia,
So
Yes.
and
is
the
the blues.
blues, all
Yes, it
of that
is.
stuff.
R&B.
Yes,
And
it is.
the pain that they put in it, like the
Yes.
Mhm.
pain in the
That's it.
music, is
That's
what
it.
it's universal in a way. We all can relate to that. And it's just such a way, it's not therapy, but it's therapeutic. It's a
It is.
difference between the
Yes.
Very
two.
much so.
I
Very
think
much
that's
so.
just so great with like saving our children, just having something. Like, I remember I used to work in Chicago public schools. I worked in several schools on the south side of Chicago, and we would have like community in schools, which
Mhm.
was like they kept the
Uh-huh.
schools open later in the
Yes.
day,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't matter what it was. It could be open mic poetry, it could be music, it could be whatever it is. It didn't matter what it was. It was just that there was somebody, a safe space, like you were talking about, Tori, where a child can come and just feel accepted.
That's
They
it.
had food, and they just they feel safe enough until their parents
Exactly.
get out of work, and they get to go home, and they get to end their day and then come back. So that was something that was just so like really, really important. So anyway, I had to throw that in there because I just felt it anyway.
It's needed.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yes.
so needed. Okay, so we do need to talk about solutions, because I know there's a lots of barriers and things that prevent people from getting help. But what would you say, like, what would be a good trauma informed response to what would be for a child who communicates that there's something wrong? What are some nice pearls of wisdom? And we'll start with you, Tori, and then we'll go to Letitia. We'll go to you. Tori, start. What would be some solution? What should an adult say? What should we be doing?
That's really interesting you say that, because definitely there's, so many different variations of trauma. I would definitely even say the impact of social trauma. And just even the studies that I have read and been a part of, even at like the University of Chicago, there was a panel of doctors, and so granted they're coming into the ER and you're assessing the bandage in the wound, but if you don't see, the eyes are to the window of the soul. They might be saying, you know what, I'm crying out because I'm experiencing some social trauma that I really need some resources and help. And so, when you say sometimes, well, what would you say to the adults? Sometimes the adults need help. Sometimes the
Mm,
adults need to kind of say, you know what, I forgive myself. I need to go through my own process because I'm putting this hurt on the next generation. It might be my child, it might be my niece, it might be my cousin. So I would even say for the adults to be open and honest and transparent to say, you know what,
Yes.
I know that, this has definitely been impacting my life and I need to be open and honest about it. So from that point, each
Ah,
generation can get better and better. And so to me, I would challenge the adults. If you know there's some area of trauma in your life, get the book, have
yeah.
some own, dialogues in your home at the family reunion, because I definitely said my next family reunion, we having a whole breakout workshop. Because guess what? Any type of generational roots, let's talk about this now, But I would say even
Mm.
for the adults, every person matters. Like even if you're the neighborhood mom in the community, you might not have any physical children, but I know even growing up, the school close by to where my childhood home is, they challenge all of the neighbors to step outside as the children will walk into school. And my dad was a community engagement lead. He could have ran for mayor
Yes.
and won. So he was always saying hello and all of those things. And they knew Uncle Frank. They knew Daddy Frank in the community. And my mom, she was driving to work. So those things I would say, the community definitely needs to assess of what they would actually definitely know that they play an intricate part. What would they say to even just the child? Understanding from the counselor to the teacher. I even realize now that teachers and principals,
Mm-hmm.
they understand the entrance to the
Mm-hmm.
school is very important. So I know, like that Jennifer Hudson, they have that
Yes.
now. So they understand that they need to be affirmed when they enter into that school, to know that this is an opportunity for them to understand that even if you didn't get it at home, I'm grateful I did get it at home. My parents affirmed me. My parents put me in activities, like you said, that increased my boldness, from playing the violin to,
Mm-hmm.
learning Toshu,
Mm-hmm.
and understanding that principle of it. But I would say really undergirding them in every area. And my thing is, find a teaspoon of good. It's going to be a
Oh,
teaspoon of good in anything that you do. And for me, if they have 99 wrong out of 100, I'm focusing on the one that's right.
Hmm.
So
oh,
I'm not
that
gonna put
is.
99 in red. I'm gonna focus on the plus one. Let's add on to the plus one. And so if we really take that perspective to say it's a teaspoon of good, but the
Mm.
last time I checked, if you have a teaspoon of good and you keep on adding it, it turns into gallons of greatness. But I would definitely say we have to be open and honest, to have a
Mm-hmm.
listening ear, and to really understand that these people are coming to us in a safe space to be open and honest for help, and let's get that help involved. And my thing is, it's a journey, so if you can do your part and then you can have somebody else do theirs, every piece matters. And that's why even when it started, when I was initially started doing therapy, it's called Mosaic Masterpiece, taking the broken pieces of your life and creating
Yes.
something beautiful. And this is a
Oh,
beautiful platform that, Letitia, you have created, and all the pieces matter, because in a mosaic piece,
yes.
any one of them is incomplete, and there's a lot of incomplete broken people in this
Yes.
whole world.
But you know
But
what? When the broken pieces come together, it's a beautiful
it's
kaleidoscope.
beautiful, and
Yes.
they're valued. They're in
Yeah.
museums. In Chicago, you need to get here early. I know Letitia's getting here early. Y'all need to get here early. Go to some museums, because you'll see even the cracks and all of that. They have them encased because for them it's beautiful, and the journey can be beautiful. But when we allow the platform to just get affirmed, to have those even declarations, like Jesse J, I know I'm somebody, I am somebody. And the thing about it is that you might not see it now, but if you continue to speak it, you're going to walk into that and creating those spaces of confidence. And like you said, coming into those schools. And my hope is that when you go into your homes, that you have where nothing is off the table. You
That's
can
right.
dream big, you can think big. Letitia's like, I'm going out here. Letitia, they don't know my name, but they know your name now. And for
They gonna
her,
know. Yep.
your yes, Letitia, to say I've never done this before. Like you said too, Dr. Alicia. When people say, and they said that to me, like, "Oh, you should have did it this way. You should have did it that way." The fact that I took flight and that I'm in
Yes.
the air, yeah, I get turbulence, but you don't experience turbulence on the ground. Letitia, you could have kept this in New York, but you said, no, I'm taking flight. I'm coming to Chicago. I'm on a tour because I want to get the masses out and aware, and let's do something about it. And so you're exactly right. Financial literacy is very important as well. And etiquette classes. Yes, we
Yes.
had that in our program. Times up, times down. Because guess what? A lot of these interviews are going to be over the table. And you can't just, smack your lips and say, "Oh, that's fine." You need to engage, and understanding that etiquette piece is very important, because now a lot of the girls, they didn't even have, semi-formal wear. They didn't even have like a skirt. So now if we're equipping you, we can equip you and then not put you in places to expose you.
Mm-hmm.
And so exposure is definitely an impactful way as well. So I love that comment, the financial
Yeah.
literacy and etiquette classes, because when you're wealthy, you're able to,
Yes.
guess what, make the legacy better, and you're able to really have financial savviness to say, I'm a person of impact, and I know that I don't just influence, but I can impact my community, the neighborhood, the city, and eventually the state and the world.
Oh, that is so beautiful. And so happy you mentioned family reunions, because
Oh yes.
there's always that uncle that gets all touchy and stuff. And then people say, well, let him come on in here to keep the
Yes.
peace. To
That's
keep
it.
the peace. Let's everybody just get along. Well, no, not we don't need to get along with everybody. So
That's it.
bravo to you for bringing things up like that. And with the family reunions, because that's not going to be a moment where we're going to say it is okay. We're
That's
going to just
right.
put bygones be bygones, because we don't want to put anybody in harm's way.
That's so
So
true.
yeah, so let's go to you,
Hold on. There was another
Letitia.
comment that the gentleman made about health, mental health, as
Oh,
well as
self-defense and mental health. Excellent.
Yes.
You want to comment on
because
that, Letitia?
yes, because
Solutions. Hmm.
I think about what are we really preparing the next generation for?
That's
And
Mm,
if
good.
we, the teachers, even have those skills,
That's
are
mm,
good.
we prepared for what's coming for our students? I
That's
know I
good.
was part of President Obama had a American Rescue and Recovery Act, and New York City Department of Education got a grant,
mhm.
and I was part of a team that got trained on bleeding edge technology.
That's good.
So when COVID came, New York was really equipped because we had already trained on computers. We had programmed computers with software in ELA and in mathematics. So
That's
when
good.
COVID came, they already had a prototype already made because you had teachers that were programming for the last 10 years.
That's good.
Wow.
That's proactive.
Well,
So that was under
why were you?
President Obama.
Yeah.
And I'm still getting educated in the computer fields now because I'm an AI agent class. So
Oh, excellent. That is so, you got to embrace technology, Lord.
yes, we have
Yes.
to.
Lord knows I've been trying to. And sometimes it's
People
frustrating, as you know.
they talk about the AI, but they talked about online shopping. They talked about the computer when it came. It's going to be a reality because if it's here now, it was here 20 years ago. We're just getting it
Yes.
now as the public because
Yes.
they probably was using that in the military 20, 25, 30 years ago. When
Oh,
Yes.
we get
that's
it, it's already version 500.
that is so true. Oh my God. So what technology is going on right now that we don't know about? So this is great. So Letitia, while we have you here, why don't you,
Yes.
we'll take a few minutes, we'll wrap up with everybody. How about you give us your final thoughts? Let people know where they can find you and get this
Yes.
book. When's the book coming out? Let everybody know what's up.
Okay. Well, the book is actually going to the editor this week.
Okay.
And we're looking at a pub date of Small Business Saturday, which
Okay.
is the day after Black Friday.
That's right. That's Saturday after
Small Business
Thanksgiving.
Saturday, because I am a small business, is going to be the Saturday which will have our pub date. I chose this time of year because that's when most people come around. The book was written as a conversation starter. Like your English class, they said they gave you a sentence starter. Well, this is
Yes.
a conversation starter.
Yes, it
And
is.
as Tori said, you have to be really, really committed to saying, we're just going to rip off all the band-aids and we're going
Yes.
to be cool. We're going to be adults about this. We can't have the children in the room. We have to be adult and go through what's been hurting this family and how we can move to another level. because every family has some type of dysfunction.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Now, where can people get you? Where can people find you? Let us
My
know.
name is Letitia Gottashe.
Oh,
I'm on YouTube.
sorry.
I'm on
Uh-huh.
Instagram, and I am on Facebook. Letitia Gottashe.
Let me see.
My
Wait, you
website,
know what?
unfortunately, is under construction. So everything is just on Letitia Gottashe. You'll find me there. And like I said, by the time the book is out in November, my website should be back up.
Oh, excellent. Okay. There's your name. There's her name
Yes.
down there. Letitia Gottashe. There it is. I forgot.
Yes.
I have to try to figure out what I'm doing here. Okay. All right. So, final words from you, Tori. Tell us, Tori, final words from you, and where can people find you?
I'm echoing Letitia. I'm definitely echoing her and her message. And I love that you say it's coming out on small business that Saturday after Black Friday, because guess what? I always say that we're a relay team. And in order for a successful relay team to win, you have to get a running start. And so to me, having this opportunity for us to come together, to have this discussion, to get the running start, it's not just even about buying the book. My thing is, this is an investment. Make the investment into this, because the return on the investment is, a lot of times we get the knowledge and we can be empowered. Statistics have shown that the level reading scores for children and students now, they're 2 grades lower.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Wow.
too much accessibility. And the last time I checked, I know growing up, I had to ask my husband, I said, they don't have where the parents read to their children, 15, 20 minutes every day. My mom was an educator, so it was just books all over.
Yeah.
People like, oh, what summer school you going to? I never went to a summer school, but I went to Tyler University. That was the house. My mom had binders. You gonna learn, because that summer dump, a lot of times, my husband says, when they're trying to get back into school, and now school has started for some states, and here in Chicago, I know that they'll start in a couple of weeks. They actually have to review so much content because they're not necessarily reading and getting themselves empowered. And so I know you hear the statement, knowledge is power. That's not true. The application of knowledge is power. So when
Mm-hmm.
you apply yourself and make this investment into getting the book, send out the message now. Let's get everybody to have a running start. So by the time this book is released on Small Business Saturday, we'll already make those investments. And guess what? To me, let's have some conversations at the table leading up to these holidays, so that a new year doesn't necessarily have to start January 1st. To me, a new year
Hello.
can start today. You got new
Hello.
information. Your mind has been transformed. I focus on mental health, and people talk about all these things. If that 3-pound weight, your brain is not impacted, you're not going to be able to make change. You have to experience transformation. And so you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on social media, TikTok. My name is Tori Marshall. Also, the name of the company is Mosaic, Mosaic Wellness Company. And then also my website is mosaicwellnesscompany.com. And I just challenge everyone, even the ones who are listening to the replay, your life should be enhanced and impacted now, because now you've been informed. And even if you weren't, now you've been informed and been in a platform of all of these powerhouse trailblazers, and Letitia, for you to step out and have this opportunity. Now we are called to do something about it. And to me, August 12th, you need to be in the room. If you can't join us in person, join us virtually. But now we are called to do something about it, and everybody plays their part. And so I just challenge each and every one of you, and I'm thankful for you, Letitia. Anybody, I know and you've heard it before, the richest place in the world is the cemetery. So all these dreams, coulda, woulda, shoulda. But Letitia, you said, no, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something about it now. And so because your voice was silent, now your
Mhm.
voice has been heard, Letitia. And it is my endeavor that children and adults, will begin to cry out and say, I've been wearing this shame for almost sometimes a half of a century,
Mm-hmm.
because of the fact that I was so hurt and I was so ashamed that I wasn't in a platform, like you said. I can just talk about it. Well, no, Uncle so and so, no, he's in the room. No, if I have an issue, you. Some people need
Uh-huh.
to deal with your ish. So issue.
What?
You got to understand that you have to be in that safe space, and that, guess what? If that safe space is us, if that means going into a laundromat sometimes, if that means developing a rapport with the librarian, whoever it is, let's be able to get those answers and solutions available. So guess what? We don't have to be healed. We actually can be made whole. Heal is just
Oh, that is
physical.
so
Being made
beautiful.
whole is the mental, the social, the emotional, and that's what we need. Just a world of wholeness. And Letitia, you have definitely started off with this pre-launch for the book to get our minds going and to take action and to empower others. So I always say nations of millions are attached to us. Are you responsible for your nation? And so we
Woo.
are responsible and we are excited and we are glad to be a part. And thank you for your yes, Letitia. Thank you.
Oh, that is so great.
Well,
Okay,
thank
well,
y'all for coming on.
yeah, well, we got to wrap up here today because we only got like a few minutes left. But thank you, Letitia, and thank you, Tori, for bringing your wisdom. And definitely, Letitia, thank you so much for bringing your honesty and transparency, compassion. We got some compassionate people here. I got to talk to you, Tori, later on. We got to talk.
Yes,
and I don't know if people in the audience, every survivor that's listening, whatever happened to you when you were younger, it is not your fault.
Right.
Your experiences matter, your voice matters, and healing is possible because I've seen it. I've done it. I've helped it. I've facilitated it. It is possible. And being believed can be one of the beginning of rebuilding that safety and trust. And all of us need somebody that we can talk to. Adults and organizations, they listen. They need to be the ones listening, and children shouldn't have to communicate their pain repeatedly. It's something that all of us need to be prepared in. Accountable institutions that have contact with children also need to know about these topics. I invite all of you guys to join us on August 12th at the Barack Obama Presidential Center. Please, I put the tickets in the chat there. Please like and share. Let's keep building families and communities and systems where children's pain goes. We don't want children's pain to go unheard. Okay. Oh, and I didn't tell myself I'm Dr. Alicia Watkins. Most people know who I am, but I'm a college professor, and I am here for everybody. And if you want to join my book club, this is my website, draliciawatkins.com. Everything is on my website, of course. If you want to join my book club, it is free, and we talk all about safety and families. We talk about all of this stuff, all of it. Go to draliciabookclub.com. That is free. Sign up there. Sunday nights, we talk about healthy relationships. Follow me on Instagram, y'all. Where's my Instagram? Follow me on Instagram, Coaching with Dr. Alicia. And of course, this is my other website, Coaching with Dr. Alicia. But my main website is Dr. Alicia Watkins. Anything that you want to, that's wellness. Where is it? There it is. All right, Dr. Alicia Watkins, you can always contact me there. I want to thank you guys for coming on here. Good night, everybody.
Yes, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.